Greetings, fellow yogis. Welcome to the Yoga by Brittany studio. Brittany here, happily guiding you through an intermediate vinyasa power sequence. Hopefully you'll get just a little bit of a workout. So thank you so much for joining me. We're gonna go ahead and get started. You're gonna come all the way up onto your knees. Knees will be just below the hips. And you're gonna take your hands to the base of your spine near your sacrum. Squeeze the glutes together a little bit and gently press the hips forward and bring your gaze all the way up towards the sky. Just a little baby back bend, opening up through the throat. Only go as far as you are comfortable, and then inhale, come back up to center. And relax the hands. We're gonna take the left leg all the way out to the side. Right hand is gonna come down to the earth and reach this left arm all the way up and over. Breathe into the whole left side body. And then on an inhale, we're gonna take this left hand all the way up and over towards your ankle. It's okay if the hand only comes to the calf or even your thigh. Right hand comes up towards the sky for a gate pose. Breathe into that outer right hip. And then very gently draw the left knee back underneath the hip. We're going to extend the right leg out to the side. Left hand comes down to the earth and reach that right arm all the way up and over. Feel the stretch all down the side of your body. On an inhale, take the right hand up and over to the thigh, the calf, or maybe the ankle. Left hand comes up towards the sky. Breathe into that palm. Relax the outer left hip, and then gently bring that right knee back underneath your hip. And we're gonna come down and forward into tabletop. So from tabletop, your knees are stacked directly below your hips and your hands are just below the shoulders. We're gonna do a couple cat-cows, being very mindful of your spine. Starting with cow, your belly drops down, fill it up with breath. And on the exhale, arch the back and let the head come down. Inhale, belly drops down to Bitalasana. Exhale, Marjaryasana or cat pose. And then pause. Returning back to center, neutral spine. Take the left leg straight back behind you. And then the right hand is gonna reach all the way out in front. You're gonna lift and reach as far as you can. And we're gonna guide the right elbow to the left knee and all the way back out. Elbow to knee. Hug the belly button towards the spine and inhale as you extend. Draw it back in one more time. And then you can hold this beautiful extension here or reach all the way up and back and try to find your toes or your ankle. If you can, you're gonna squeeze the glute and kick that foot up in towards the sky. Keep your gaze out in front of you. Firing up the quad. And on an exhale, we slowly return to tabletop. Trying the other side. The right leg comes back behind you and the left arm reaches out in front. You can imagine that there's a button on the back wall you're gonna touch with the toe. Reach the hand out and then take the elbow to the knee. Inhale as you extend. And exhale, draw it back in. Inhale, extend. And you can hold this extension Or reach up and back, try to find the toes, lift up, kick up, keep the chest open, gaze a couple feet out in front of you, squeeze the glute, lift, lift, lift. On an exhale, return to tabletop. You're gonna keep your knees about hip width apart and your hips are gonna stay directly above the knees. We're gonna walk the hands out in front of you for Anahatasana or heart melting pose. So you're gonna guide your heart down towards the earth. Maybe your chin or your forehead comes down. This is gonna help release some pressure near your lumbar spine. And on an inhale, you're gonna guide the hands back towards you and come back up into tabletop. From here, we're gonna untuck the toes and lift up to our first downward facing dog. Come all the way up. Feet are about hip width apart. Press away from the mat with your hands. Let the head relax. Down in between the elbows, tailbone reaches up towards the sky. And then just take a moment to bend the right knee really deeply towards the center of your mat. And take the left knee in. Maybe you want to bend the knees or come up onto your tiptoes. And then you can step, hop or float your feet up in between your hands. Bring the chin down towards your chest and roll up to Tadasana. We're gonna find our first full sun salutation, Surya Namaskara A. So starting in Tadasana for this full sun salutation, your feet are about hip width apart. We're gonna inhale both arms up towards the sky. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale to half lift or Ardha Uttanasana. Back stays flat. And then exhale the hands all the way down around your feet and you're gonna step back into plank pose. From plank pose, you're going to use your toes to shine the collarbones and the heart forward. Shift yourself forward with those toes. And then you can come all the way down to your knees and then draw the elbows in towards your chest for a modified chaturanga. And so from here, we're going to inhale, press all the way up into Cobra or Bhujangasana. So while we're here in Cobra, you're gonna let the shoulder blades hug together, kind of draw down the back, relax the glutes. And then you're going to lift your hips and thighs up off of the earth for Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or upward facing dog. And on an exhale, untuck the toes and come all the way back up into Adho Mukha Svanasana or downward facing dog. Make sure the centers of your elbows are kind of facing one another. There's no tension in the neck. Reach the heels down and that tailbone up. Take a deep breath. And you can step, hop, or float the feet up in between your hands. Bring the chin down towards your chest, and we're gonna roll all the way back up. Completing our first modified sun salutation. We'll walk through it a little quicker this time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale the hands down, step back into plank. Use those toes to bring your collarbones forward, Shoulders are just by the fingertips. And then you can come down to your knees or draw the elbows straight back and in towards your chest. Engage the serratus muscles for Chaturanga Dandasana. Plank with your elbows at 90-degree angles. Untuck the toes. Inhale and press up to upward facing dog. If you need to take your hips down to the earth for cobra, if you can't quite keep your hips lifted, that's an option. Otherwise, we're going to stay up in this upward facing dog. And on an exhale, take it all the way back up to downward facing dog. Big breath. And then we're going to step, hop, or float the feet up in between the hands. And roll, stacking the vertebra. Come all the way up to Tadasana. From here, take a deep bend in the knees. Sweep the arms up for Utkatasana or fierce pose. Weight comes into the heels. Elbows are up by the ears. You can imagine that you have a corset on, just hugging your ribs in. And then we'll exhale, forward fold. From here, inhale to half lift. And then exhale, hands come all the way down. Take a big step back with that right foot. And you're going to let the right heel spiral down towards the earth. Check out that you have heel to heel alignment. We're going to keep this knee stacked above the left ankle. And then inhale your arms up to Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. Your rib cage and hips are facing forward. That right or the left thigh is about parallel with the earth and that back right leg is straight. Exhale the hands back down behind you. If you can interlock them, interlock them. We're going to lift them up and bow forward. Humble warrior. Stretching out the biceps and triceps. Inhale the arms all the way back up around the ears. Come back up into Warrior 1. Cartwheel the hands down. Step back to plank. Hold plank. And let's just push straight up to downward facing dog. Cycle the breath. So big inhales and exhales. And then we're going to take a big step forward with the right foot. Let the left heel come down. Root yourself to the earth. Heel to arch alignment and rise up to Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So it's really important that this knee is just above the ankle. Right thigh is about parallel. Hips, shoulders are square. Draw the belly button in. And then exhale, hands come back down behind you. Interlock the fingers and press the hands down. Inhale. And as you exhale, lift the hands up and bow forward to humble warrior. From here, inhale the arms back up around your ears. We're going to cartwheel the hands down. Step back into plank, and we're going to go straight up from plank to downward facing dog. From here, cycle your breath. At first, this feels like it's a little bit of a workout, and then over time, down dog becomes somewhat of a relaxation posture. We're going to inhale the right leg all the way up towards the sky for a three-legged dog. And then drop the heel back towards your rear to open up through the hip. Straighten out the right leg. Then step it all the way through, up in between the hands. Left heel comes down. This time you want heel to arch alignment. We're gonna come all the way up into warrior two. So you're gonna come up, face the left side of your mat. Arms are parallel with the earth for Virabhadrasana 2 or warrior 2. Same thing here, that knee is above the ankle. We're gonna inhale the right arm up and the left arm down for peaceful warrior. Keep the thighs really strong. You can squeeze them together a little bit to make the upper body light. We're gonna take the right hand down and onto the right knee, left arm up and over for extended side angle. And if you'd like, you can drop the right hand down to the inside of your foot. Keep the left arm all the way up. Let the hips come down a little. Breathe. Let the left hand meet the right. Frame this front foot and step back into plank. From plank, you can take a little vinyasa through chaturanga. Knees chest to chin, or just draw the elbows straight back and in for chaturanga. Inhale and press up. Let the shoulder blades come together and draw down the back, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. We're going to inhale the left leg all the way up and towards the sky. Straighten it out, three-legged dog, and then drop the heel. Open up that whole hip. Straighten out the left leg and then step it all the way up in between the hands. Right heel comes down to the earth. You're going to have heel to arch alignment again here. Root yourself to the mat. We're going to come all the way up to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So here your knee is just above the ankle, so you might need to move this leg out a little bit to get yourself comfortable. We're going to inhale the left arm up, right arm back and down. Peaceful warrior. Hips are going to square off with the front of the mat here. Breathe. We're going to take the left hand down to the front knee, right arm up and over, extended side angle. And if you'd like to drop the hand all the way down to the earth, you can. Let the hips open up, stretch out a little bit. Breathe into that right palm. Take it down. Frame the front foot with the hands. Step back into plank. And you can go straight up to downward facing dog if you'd like here. Or take that little flow. Toes push the collarbones and shoulders forward. Elbows draw straight back. Chaturanga. Untuck the toes and inhale. Press up. If your hips are down, you're going to be in cobra. Otherwise, we're in upward facing dog. Big exhale to downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. Push away from the mat, tailbone up. Just breathe into your downward facing dog. And then you can step, hop, or float the feet up in between your hands. And stack the vertebra and roll all the way up and into Tadasana. We're going to go into Gardasana or eagle pose next. So you're going to sit down deeply into your chair. Sweep the arms up towards the sky. Lean back into your chair. You're going to drop the elbows to goalposts. So elbows are like little cactuses or goalposts. We're going to take the left arm all the way up and under. Try to get the palms to touch, or maybe the backs of the hands, and if that's too much, you can reach for opposite shoulders. Squeeze everything down, and then that left leg is going to lift all the way up and cross over. Eventually, your foot's going to hook onto the back of the calf, and the knees are going to be like a steering wheel, keeping your hips square, compress everything down, and then keeping your balance as best as you can. We're going to go into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. So that left leg comes straight back behind you. Reach the arms out in front of you. Reach, 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 reach. Human capital T, Virabhadrasana 3. Lift and reach, and then have the left foot meet the right, Uttanasana, forward fold. Take another deep bend in the knees, and I'll switch sides so you can see Warrior 3 from the side. Deep bend in the knees, sweep the arms back up. Coming into Utkatasana, fierce pose. Drop the elbows down to cactuses. And this time, your right arm is going to swing up and underneath. Bring the right hand to touch the palm, otherwise the backs of your hands touch. Guide those elbows down. And then when you're ready, the right foot lifts up and crosses over. Hook the foot onto the calf as best as you can, or just keep it down beside the calf. Stay seated into your chair, lean back, and then you're going to stretch that right leg straight back behind you. Reach the arms out in front of you, human capital T, Warrior 3. This is so good for your cardiovascular system. Try to hold for 3, and if you fall out, you just get back into it. 2 and 1. Right foot meets the left. Uttanasana, forward fold. We're going to inhale to half lift. And exhale the hands down. Step back into plank. We're going to side plank from here. So your left hand is going to come underneath your gaze. And you're going to come onto your left side and reach the right arm all the way up towards the sky. Breathe and lift the hip. Your feet can be stacked or staggered, or if you need a little kickstand, you can bring it up. Then take the right palm down, keep it centered, and we're just going to switch sides. And shaking is good here. It just means that you're working. Lift the hips, breathe up into the palms. Stay with this here. Core is super strong. Take it back down to plank. We're going to lower down to your forearms. Really, really working the abs and now the obliques. You're going to hold this forearm plank and then dip the right hip down and bring it back to center. Dip the left hip down and come up to center. Right and left. And then push back up into plank. And we're going to find downward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Big breath. Moving into pigeon pose next. You're going to bring the right foot back behind the left wrist. Right knee back behind the right wrist. And sink yourself all the way back and down. So here, if your hip is not connected to the earth, you can get a pillow or a towel and kind of stack it up underneath this hip. You're going to want to make sure that this hip connects with the earth. And then it's your choice if you want to stay up, if this feels good to you. Or you can come down onto your forearms. Maybe you can notice your heartbeat in relation to your breath. On an inhale, we're going to untuck the hands, draw the left knee up a little bit, and you're going to push your way all the way back up to downward facing dog. Cycle your breath. Maybe you want to bend the knees a little, really press away with all of the hands. And we're going to take that left foot back behind the right wrist, left knee back behind the left wrist, and sink yourself down. And if you don't quite have the same flexibility in your hips, you can draw this heel in a little bit, and that might be a little more comfortable for you. The more open your hips are, the more that foot will be up, back behind the right hand. And then again, your choice if you want to be down on your forearms or if you want to stay up. See how this feels for you. Take just a couple breaths and we'll start to wind down this little vinyasa sequence. Press yourself up onto your hands. Draw the knee in. We're going to take the final downward facing dog of this practice. Really push the tailbone up. Let the hands divide the weight equally. And then walk your feet towards the center of your mat. Come all the way down onto your sit bones. We're going to take both legs and really bring them out wide and towards the sides. Take the spine up towards the ceiling, hands out in front of you, and just walk them all the way out and down. Maybe you want to come down to your forearms. Try to keep the toes up towards the ceiling. Breathe. And on an inhale, come all the way back up. We're going to take the sole of the right foot, and I'm going to mirror you, the sole of the right foot into the left thigh, and you're going to inhale the arms up. Turn to face this left leg, and then fold your front torso up and over. Reach from the heart, come down towards the toes for Janu Sirsasana. Just allow for there to be a pretty good stretch underneath the hamstrings. If you flex the toes back towards you, you'll feel it in the calves. Try to keep the leg down on the earth. It's okay if you're only here or here. We'll come up on the inhale and switch sides. So the right leg comes out. Sole of the left foot comes in. Take a tall spine, bring the arms up. Turn to face that right leg and fold up and over onto it. Janu Sirsasana. So same thing here. Just try to keep the leg flat up against the earth, and it's okay if your hands are just here or maybe here. Breathe into it. Relax yourself down and into it. And on an inhale, come all the way up. You're going to bring the knees up to touch in front of you. We're going to go into Navasana or boat pose. So hands come to the backs of the thighs and then lift your shins up. You can just stay here if you need to. Otherwise, to challenge yourself and power through the last of this, bring your hands to heart center. We're going to twist to the right side and back to center. Twist to the left and back to center. See if you can do this a couple more times on each side. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then we're going to come all the way down and onto your back. Feet are about hip width apart. Hands are down by your sides. We're going to lift into a bridge. Hips come up off of the earth. You can stay here in this bridge, or if you'd like a challenge, right leg goes up and switch. Left leg goes up and down, lift, come all the way down. We're going to end with a little inversion, a shoulder stand. So to do this, you're going to bring your knees in towards your chest, and you're gonna lift up so that your hips come up off of the earth. Draw the feet up towards the sky. And you can keep rocking until you get the hang of it. Hands will come up onto the back of your spine. Toes will come all the way up towards the sky. Be really careful not to move your head side to side. You don't want to injure your neck. This is going to positively influence your glandular systems, circulatory system. And if you'd like to take the toes back behind your head for plow, halasana, you can. Just breathe into it. Or you can stay up in that full shoulder stand. Wherever you are, take the hips back down and begin to relax in Shavasana, the final relaxation posture. Heels will touch and the toes fall apart. Take as many slow breaths as you need in corpse pose. You're just gonna let your toes kind of fall off to the sides, and you can have palms face down to ground you or palms face up. Just relax the whole crown of your head down to your shoulders and arms, all the way to your tiptoes. And you can pause the video here, relaxing in Shavasana as long as you need, resting with that quality of awareness. It is truly a privilege and a pleasure to guide you through a yoga sequence. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me. From my soul to yours, in love and light, namaste.